The people at Truck Stop then teamed up with the boy Mark the Mentor. Are you ready to take your trucking business to the next level? With Truck Stop Pro, you get access to the best load board in the game, giving you the tools to find higher paying loads and streamline your operation. And right now, you can try the Pro plan free for 30 days, a $159 value. Click the link in the description to claim your free Pro plan and start making smarter moves for your trucking business today.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on all post notification. How's everybody doing? It's Wednesday, late morning, early afternoon, October 30th. All right. October is almost out of here. It's getting close, getting close. Getting close to the big 2025. We got election day about 6 days away. Next Tuesday, November 5th, I believe, is election day. We got election day coming up. We got Thanksgiving coming up in about a month, Christmas in about 2 months, and 2025. All right, so let's get to it. Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. Today's poll: how is your cargo van or box truck business doing? All right. We got 17% so far says I'm winning. We got 50% says I'm getting by, no complaints. We got 22% that says they're struggling. We got 11% says they are damn near out of business. So far, we got 19 votes. Make sure you guys participate in that poll. Let's get to it. Let's do these roll calls. So far, we got a half a century in here already. This is the question everybody want to know. You see, we got a half a century in here already, and I ain't even started talking yet. So this is something that is a very, very, very important question that a lot of people want to know. Shout out to Great Polo in the building. Shout out to everybody that's part of the MGM gang. Shout out to Sharks World MGM member. Shout out to Snooty Seals in the building. Thomas Fowler representing North Alabama. Snooty representing VA. Shout out to Roger Lacey representing that MGM thing. Cincinnati in the building. Shout out to UK Hemi. What's going on? Who else we got? Shout out to Pippi. Shout out to all the moderators in the building. Shout out to GOAT Logistics. Shout out to Marcus Williams. What's going on? Don Solo representing that Naib. What's going on? SD Walt representing Cleveland. Brown Goat Logistics. Long time no see. Representing Dallas. Transportation Boys. Representing the crib. Superman, what's going on? Dominican Lou, what's going on? Who else we got in the building? We got Kenneth Brown. What's up? What's up? Ace Wonder representing North Carolina. King Sing representing that NYC in the building when the East is in the house. Oh my God. Danger. Representing the East Coast. What's going on? Ricardo Steven listening while carrying 2 parcels to Michigan. That's what's up. All right, check it out. The question everybody want to know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and hit that like button. Hit that like button. It's now a good time. It's now the perfect time to get into the cargo van and the box truck business. I got a few bullet points that I want to touch on, and I'm gonna cook up. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why we doing this is because there are a plethora of people that are telling people it's not a good time, and I've been seeing this for about the past 2 years now. About 2 years now. So let's cook up real quick. Let's talk about if it is or if it isn't. And then let's talk about why people are saying these things. All right. Is it a good time? All right. Let's see why. Why is it possibly a good time? I think it's a good time. I think it's a great time. I think it's the perfect time. I think now is more a perfect time than any. I tell you when it wasn't a perfect time in 2021. Now, some of you may be thinking, how wasn't a perfect time? The money was up, and that's why so many people failed, because they didn't know what the heck they was doing. They didn't know what they was in. They didn't know what they was investing in. They fell victim to being a bandwagon subscriber, You know what I'm saying? Not doing their own due diligence. And depending on what time they entered into the industry during that tenure of the pandemic would determine their outcome, because you could have entered in at the point where inflation kicked in, and there's no way that you possibly would have been able to sustain. If you got in during the beginning part when entry was not as bad, then yes. But if you got in when entry was high, then that might have been the time where you wanted to wait. Now is the perfect time. Why? Demand is still there. Demand is there. It's not what you saw during the pandemic, but there is demand there. It's just different. Demand is there, it's just different. Now, what do you mean, Mark? Demand is there, but it's just different. Da da da. Man, rates are down, man. Oversaturation, da da da. Specialized niches. See, everybody wants to do what everybody is doing. So if you put yourself in a situation where you're entering into a market that everybody wants to do because it's less taxing, there's less involved, then what do you expect? What do you expect? Where is the demand shifted to? Here's the thing, running middle mile has changed a lot since the pandemic. What if a lot of trucking companies and retailers, how have they transitioned as far as logistics, getting their goods to their fulfillment centers and their warehouses? How have they transitioned, and why have they transitioned after the pandemic for the middle mile? Can anybody answer that question for me? We saw a change. We saw a change in the middle mile. So yes, capacity as far as supply, let me say, has increased, right? Due to an enormous amount of owner operators that came into the industry during the pandemic. And, a lot of those owner operators have, diminished, but that popularity still is there. You know what I'm saying? The people that came in due to the popularity that was presented during the pandemic, a lot of those entrants have failed. But the popularity is still there. The influence is still there. The influence that was created during the pandemic, you still see remnants of that on the internet. Those videos are still up. That content is still up. That content is not going anywhere. And people who didn't have the mindset to get in when they had that large lump sum of money at that time, those thoughts and, people that were in their inner circle that were taking their money that got in and failed, that thought is still lingering in their head. So now you have those people giving it a crack at it. You have people that entered and failed giving a second crack at it. You have a culture now where people don't want to work. We see it all the time on the call-in show. We see people that are already in established roles and established positions. We see people that are in trucking from a CDL perspective come up on my channel all the time and want to transition from a CDL semi-truck into a box truck. Everybody wants to go in that one direction. More people are buying things online, from essential goods to big and bulky furniture. The final mile industry, as far as the amount of opportunity over the next 4 to 10 years, is going to constantly increase. The more retailers that turn that same day, next day delivery switch on, the more opportunities that they're going to be. Not every retailer has converted over yet, but we see more and more and more converting over every single day. The answer that I was looking for is a lot of retailers and a lot of your mega carriers have invested more into intermodal. Why? Inflation, right, is one, right? Transportation cost gets passed along to the consumers. So how do we suppress raising the prices on consumers. What's one way we can suppress that so that we can still stay competitive? Different mode of transportation. It's cheaper to move things via intermodal than it is a truck. It takes longer, but it's cheaper. That's why you see companies like JB Hunt ordering more rail car containers. So now with overcapacity, oversupply that's still lingering, more people still coming in, the mode of transportation for middle miles, especially from your mega carriers, they're investing more in the intermodal. It's a cheaper form of transportation. And those savings get passed along to the consumers. Doesn't mean that the demand is still not there. The demand is there. It's just different. So when you come into an industry as an owner, you have to meet the needs of the business. You got to go where the money at. And no matter how many times I ask people, and these are, not the older guys, but when I talk to younger, guys that still have, or should still have good knees and good arms and good shoulders and good strength, everybody wants to do what they think is easy, which is this no-touch freight stuff that everybody talks about. And that's fine. But what we see is a level of understanding when it comes to that middle mile that a lot of people can't grasp. One of the main things is the cost that are associated with the understanding that you have to delay your gratification, the understanding that you constantly have to keep up with your operational costs and your cost per mile, the understanding that you're not going to get rich, the understanding that, you should know what your cost of living is prior to coming into this business, because you may be better off just staying where you're at your job, because you have to factor in sustaining the business. Sustaining the business is the priority more so than sustaining your lifestyle. Hit the like button. The demand is there. I see it every day. I see it in Final Mile. I see it in Final Mile every day. I see it in curbside. I see it on the gig apps. Now, don't get it twisted. These sectors are competitive, and we see competition rising day by day. But the demand is there. What you're looking at is a normal logistics economy. Now, people always say, oh, well, can't wait till it goes back or rates go back. And then when you see me ask them, what does back look like? I've asked content creators. I've asked people that have come up on the channel. And either they don't know or they give me a time period during a period that we'll probably never see again in this lifetime. And even if we see another pandemic, what has history taught us? History has taught us that we learned from our mistakes. There were plenty of mistakes that were made during the last pandemic by the government. They won't never do what they did again. And if they do it, there's going to be processes and procedures that you're going to have to go through. They're not just going to make it as simple as they did the last time, because look at the results of them doing so. Look at what you're living through now. So it won't be as simple. That wasn't the first stimulus that I've been through in my lifetime. That was the most stimulus that I've seen presented to an economy in my lifetime. I think Bush gave out $700 back like in 06 or 07. From what I remember getting a $700 check, I think from Bush. And then Obama gave one when he came in. I think it was like $600 or $700. And you just got it. From what I remember, if you paid taxes the previous year, you just got the check in the mail. You just got it in the mail. You had to do your taxes. They went off your previous year taxes. From my understanding, you just applied and they gave it to you. You got people that never even paid taxes. You got people that never had businesses that was running around getting 20, that was running around getting unemployment in a multitude of states. you, you, which contributed to the spending, which contributed to the volume. The point of the stimulus was for people to spend money, in which they did. This is why you had the volume. You're not going to see that volume anymore. What you're seeing is normal. Well, Mark, what determines normal? Normal is determined by where the economy is. If we're in an economic downturn economy, then you're seeing what volume looks like when there's an economic downturn. When there's a normal economic upturn, let's say like 2016, 2017, 2018, you saw what normal volume looked like during that time period. The issue is a lot of the people that are saying these things on the internet from a content creator perspective hasn't had the experience. Now, there was a challenge to me about experience, but here's the thing. How can you determine what is and what isn't if you can only base your knowledge or your experience off the years that you've been operating? If the majority of your years come from a period where there was a pandemic and now you're seeing what normal looks like, how can you compare this normal to what normal was prior to the pandemic when you weren't operating prior to the pandemic? And when I say operating prior to the pandemic, I'm not talking about for a short time period. I'm talking about for an extent of time where you can see different economical shifts, where you can see what an uptick looks like, when you can see what a downtick looks like. This isn't the first freight recession I've seen. It was a freight recession in 2019. A lot of the companies that used to deliver to me went out of business in 2019. New England Motor Freight was one of the companies that came to my warehouse a lot. They're not even in business no more. They got wiped out with the 2019 freight recession. So when people say, oh, now is not a right time, says who? If you're comparing it to 2021, 2020, first quarter going into the second quarter of 2022, you're never going to see that again. You're going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting till the cows come home because it's not going to happen. The demand is there. The competition level is higher due to some of the same people that are saying now is not a bad time or now is a bad time. But the freight is there. The opportunity is there. Are you set up? Is your business set up to be able to compete, to get the freight? Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, turn on all post notifications. Opportunities in niche markets. Listen, I talked about some niche specialty markets yesterday. There's still open demand or a lot of demand for final mile, big and bulky. Nobody wants to do it. Moving, nobody wants to do it. Fine. You don't have to do it, right? Not telling you, but these opportunities do exist and there's less people entering into those arenas. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Depending on how things go over the course of the next 6 days, and then after that 6 days, obviously January 20th, inauguration day. So let's say the next 6 days, around this time next week. So this is Wednesday. By this time next week, the show I do next Wednesday, we can pretty much gauge where certain things are going to go. If things go one way, then check this out. Your final mile specialty, your moving specialty, all those labor intensive jobs that no one wants to do, don't worry about it. It's going to be people, and then that's going to become oversaturated. And not will it become only oversaturated, even if you still do decide to come in, it's going to be hard for you to compete. Because now you're competing against a person that has a cheaper cost of living by nature. You're competing with an individual whose gratification is already delayed because of their circumstances. You won't be able to compete. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all posts. You're not going to be able to compete with an individual who by nature's gratification is just delayed just off the strength due to their circumstances. You can't. I'm looking at some of the rogue moving company rates just for research purposes on Craigslist. I see some popping up on Thumbtack. Bro, 2 men for $65. It's ridiculous. 2 men for $65 an hour. It's already happening. 2 men for 65. Listen, those are the rates that I used to see back in 2010, 2011. My first moving rate, when I first got my first 16-foot box truck, when I rented the first 16-foot box truck, when I came from the Avalanche, was 2 men for $75 an hour. So this is back 2010, 2011. So you got migrants, because we already know who they are, who are getting stimulated by the government. They're getting stimulated the same way you got stimulated in 2020, 2021, and the first quarter, second quarter of 2022. They're getting stimulated right now the same way. You go past any migrant shelter, you middle Americans, you may not be able to attest to this because you don't see what we see in major cities. We looked at them last year just arriving into the city, to sleeping outside, freezing because they weren't used to this climate, shivering and shit, sleeping outside police stations, to the city, getting all these abandoned buildings, building tenements and shelters and all these abandoned buildings, going ahead and doing full gut rehabs in some of these old warehouses to turn them into migrant shelters, then incentivizing them just for being over here as an illegal alien. Now you drive past these migrant shelters. Before, you just seen migrants sitting outside of them, cutting hair and just sitting out there doing nothing. Now you drive past, any car that you saw that was on any website for under $5,000 has flooded the street. They got cars. They ain't going and buying the cars you go buy. They going and buying the little $5,000 below hollers, and they fixing them themselves. You go past, you see 10 cars with the hood up. They fixing them. They all under them. You see food trucks out there, and you see old box trucks. Now ask me if don't have me go do a live stream from the migrant shelter. Shout out to everybody that knows what I'm talking about. Everybody in New York, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody in Chicago, you know what I'm talking about. We seen the transition. Why? How did they get this, Mark? How are they doing Uber Eats? How are they doing DoorDash? How are they on the gig apps doing Spark, Roadie, taking all the opportunities because they were incentivized? Just like I told people 2 years ago, when nobody listened to me because your favorite content creator was selling you a dream and I was the bad guy, but now I'm the good guy because you knew I was right. And you had to come back and humble yourself and be like, damn, Mark, I didn't like you at first. Just like I told you, look, sign up for these gig apps now. Just sign up for them. You're going to need them later. Not right now, but you want to be on board because I see things transitioning. The content is there. You can go look at the content. Where I said this 2 years ago, go look at my 2022 content when I talked about gig apps sometime between August and December. Verbatim, I said, sign up for this stuff now and just be in the app because I'm telling you, they're going to start waitlisting it when everybody starts rushing over there. And now you can't get on some of these apps. Now you can't get on some of these apps. Same thing is going to happen with the specialized niche industries that pertain to cargo van and box trucks. They coming. I see it already. So depending on how next week goes is going to determine if that's going to get tough or not. I wouldn't be able to compete with $65 an hour. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. The cost of operation from a licensed legal perspective, because they're not finna go get licensed, not off the bat, wouldn't be able to compete with it. How can you compete with two guys charging $65 an hour with no truck fee? They living in a shelter. They don't have rent to pay. They don't got mortgage to pay. They getting incentivized by the government to start these unlicensed road business. So they making money from the government and they making money out in the fields. You can't beat it. So what I'm saying is now is the time to get into those specialized industries if you are thinking about it, because you want to have a footprint in case things do go that way. At least if you're in and you got a footprint, you already have a clientele base that's going to be willing to work with you as your company grows and your rates grow. Don't do what you should have did 2 years ago when I told you to do it and you didn't do it. Now you coming to me now like, damn, Mark, man, I just tried to get on dispatch. They talking about there ain't no opportunities. I've been on a wait list for a year. I can't get on roadie. I've been on a wait list for 2 years. I can't get on Curry. I'm still on the wait list. Been on a wait list over a year. Still on the wait list for freight. Freight won't let me on. And then you see guys in my Discord steady posting, sharing they things, and you see them. One guy just moved a whole box, one little box that weighed like less than 10 pounds for $600. And then you got to sit there and grit your teeth when you see something like that because you can't even get on to get those types of opportunities. It's about early adoption, being an early adopter. Business is about timing. So where there's opportunity, you kind of want to insert yourself there because, man, nothing stays the same forever. I've been doing this long enough that I could tell you this. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you nothing stays the same forever. And it's not things that you may be able to forecast or predict. No one could ever predicted a pandemic and how it would change the landscape of logistics forever. Like, things will not be the same ever again. All right? All right. Now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We got 107 people in here. We got 66 likes. Let's try to get those likes up to about 75% of the people that are in here. We got 55 votes. How's your cargo van or box truck business doing? Right now, we got 27% says that they're winning. We got 45% says that they're getting by, no complaints. We got 18% says they're struggling. We got 9% saying that they are damn near out of business. All right, make sure you participate in that vote. Shout out to Great Polar for that super chat.
Sweet.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, let's talk about startup costs. Why is now a good time? Startup costs are lower. Startup costs, listen, it's almost damn near free in comparison to what it was 3 years ago to get in. Hit the like button. It's almost damn near free to get in comparison to what it was 3 years ago. When everybody wanted to get in, when everybody came in, when you couldn't tell nobody nothing. I was the old guy when I was telling y'all, just slow down. We're in a bubble. Things are going to turn around. Prices are going to come down. Be patient. But no. Now is a better time. Why? You got you got Ryder doing buy one, get the second half off. Buy one, get the second. Listen, commercial truck, buy one, get the second half off. We looked at Penske the other day. You got level 3s for 10 grand. You got level 2s for under 20 into the mid 20s. I looked at a Hino 268 for $26,000. That same truck 3 years ago would have easily been $70,000, $80,000. Now presents an opportunity where you can come in with a very, very low initial cost. You can come in with so much of a low initial cost as far as your equipment is concerned that if you really focus and put your mind to it and delay your gratification, you can come in on a cash deal buy for your equipment. 20 grand is not hard to come up with in 2024 going into 2025, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. Regardless of what you may think, all it requires is some hard work and some determination, some sacrifice. Now, you're going to have to come up with a little bit more because you're going to have working capital, and you're going to have to be able to obtain your licensing, the cost of licensing, and your insurance down payment and equipment and things of that nature that you need to supply your truck with. But the point that I'm trying to make is, in comparison to a few years ago, the same equipment you would have paid 3 to 4 times the amount for. So if you look at what the current rates are, if you're looking at middle mile, your initial cost of entry is low in comparison to the person who entered in 2020, 2021, and 2022. The people that are still lingering that made their initial investment during that time period are the people that are complaining, that are telling you now is not a good time. When actuality, the time that they got in wasn't a good time. You know who 2021 was a good time for? The people that were already in the business. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. Listen, if you are already in the business, when rates skyrocketed due to higher demand because volume increased due to the stimulus and people spending the money that the government gave them to spend in the first place, and you are already invested into this industry, that was the time for them. That was their, golden moment. The guy that was already in 2019 or 2018 or 2017 or 2011 or 2008. That was the time for the person that was already in the industry. There's no way that I'm investing into anything during the height of a bubble. Why? Because the bubble is going to crash. Any market. Look at any market. I do this comparison analysis. It's just like buying a stock in 2020 and you missed the rise. That's just like buying CCIV when I sold it at $58. You's a sucker. Lucid is like $2 now. I bought it at 18, sold it at 58. Like 1,000 and some shares. I came up big time. Now it's like $2. But if you would have bought it because of the hype that was pushing all those companies that were overvalued, that weren't worth what the valuation was going, because you had all those people with that free money. They weren't just buying consumer goods. They were buying paper assets as well. People were buying everything. And then guess what? When the market crashed, all those people that bought those inflated stocks, they lost. They invested in something they didn't understand. They invested in the height of a bubble. Same thing with the box truck business. The time wasn't right then for those individuals. Buy low, sell high. Who wants to buy high and lose all? That's why majority of those people failed. The market had to correct itself. So now presents a great opportunity. Why? Because you can come in with a low initial cost in a normal industry. This is a normal industry. You know how I know? And despite all your naysayers, that's why I dropped the link and challenge them. Because if I'm wrong, why don't these people hit the link? Why don't they come substantiate why they're saying that now is not the time? See, here's the thing. Don't say anything or don't mislead people or tell people it's not if you can't articulate why. Because when I challenge them why you don't think it, you see what the response is. There's no response. I can articulate and substantiate why now is the perfect time. You can get in with a low initial cost, the rates are normal, and you'll be able to compete with the lingering supply that came in during the pandemic with a high initial cost that's paying high insurance, high truck note that's complaining about cheap freight. That's your competition. The guys that are complaining about cheap freight is because they bought a $26,000 Hino 268 for $80,000. So they got a $3,000 and some dollar truck note. They got a $3,000 some dollar insurance. And they can't compete with the current rates, which are normal. They were fine during that time because the rates were inflated. But now we're in a sense of normality. And we're not going back to that time. So when I say there's no such thing as cheap freight, y'all take it and run with it the wrong way. And that's why I keep saying it, because I know you don't understand what I'm talking about. And I do it so you can go share the link in your little groups and stuff, because that brings me more visibility. I want you to hate and get mad, because it brings me more visibility. And I drop the link and I dare you to come up and articulate why you oppose and you don't do it, which gives me more visibility. Hit the like button. These are the people that are telling you not get in. These are the people that saying cheap freight because they invested with a high initial cost 2.5, 3 years ago, and they're struggling. You come in with a $20,000, $25,000 truck now, no, just got to recoup your initial investment over a period of time. You can set that. You can set that as high, as aggressive as you want to recoup and pay yourself back, or how low. The choice is yours. The power is in your hands. See, when you got to pay that high truck note, the power ain't in your hands. The power is in the finance person's hands, because they're going to dictate to you when you're going to pay and how much you're going to pay over a term of how many years. If I go out and buy a truck for $25,000, I can set a 4-year payment plan to recoup, pay myself back. I can set a 5-year, a 60-month. I can set a 6-year, 72-month. I can set a 3-year. I can set a 2. I can set a 1. I can initially say 3 years, but then if we get into some type of economic downturn and I have to shift some things around, then I can increase it. If we're having a good year, then I can aggressively pay it back and then lower it and get it out the way. I control. The power is in my hands. The power is in your hands when you go out initially and do what's in your best interest. So why ain't now the good time? Why ain't now the perfect time? Right now is the most perfect time. Low cost of entry in a normal market, competition that's lingering won't be able to compete because your operational cost is a fraction of theirs. The proof is already out there. And this is on the trucking side more so than on the cargo van side. The cargo van, you're seeing increased competition due to more people coming in due to supplementing their income. More people need to do roadie. More people need to do these gig apps. More people you see the new Spark. And then you have the migrant situation. This next roadie video that are coming out, I'm going to show you what migrants are taking all your work. They're just hanging out at the back of Walmart. They're just back there chilling. I'm like, man, is y'all waiting on something? Why are y'all always back in the back of Walmart chilling? Why are y'all just standing around? Y'all standing around like this Home Depot. Do they think that if they back there, they going to get the signal first from Spark or Roadie or whatever the gig app that they working on? If they, and like they ain't just sitting in their car, like you see about 10 of them just standing by the door where they bring the shit out to their car. They just standing by the door with their phone like this. Like what does that do? This is your competition. This is what the cargo van needs to deal with. More reason for you to pull the trigger. No pun intended. No pun intended. Don't go out and do what's not in your best interest and say, I told you. Pull the trigger on onboarding or signing up or getting involved in these wait lists as soon as possible. These things are not things that you should frown upon. These things are going to be tools to help you supplement. You want access to every single opportunity that can get presented to you, period. Shout out to that super chat. I think I saw a $50 super chat. Who was that? Transportation Boy?
Sweet.
Appreciate that $50 super chat. Appreciate that. So cargo van business is a lot lower startup cost than the box truck business. But in some cases, you see some of these box trucks that are cheaper than the cargo van, just more advanced. But your startup cost is lower. Your insurance is lower for the most part. Your truck, your van known to be lower. You're not bound to the regulations. So some of the licensing that you may have to get if you're with a box truck. Speaking on these applications, technology is on your side. There's more technology now than it was a year ago, than it was 2 years ago. There's new apps that are coming out every day. Everybody wants in. Every retailer wants in. Brokers. Everybody's trying to get in on the technology. Why? Because it's more on demand. Everybody can see what's going on at all times, all parties. So from the gig side of things, you can literally just turn your app on or a multitude of apps on and opportunities await, depending on what markets you're in. The more opportunities you have, the more opportunities you have to make more money. These opportunities did not exist. So why is not the perfect time? It's a competitive landscape off back. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. We had about 120 people in here. We got 83 likes. I see 120 some people. I see 83 likes. Let's get those likes up to about 100, please, please. Subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, hit the like button. We got the poll. We got 70 votes so far in the poll. How is your cargo van or box truck business doing? 24% says they're winning big time. 46% say they're getting by. 21% say they're struggling. 9% say they damn near out of business. Take advantage of the technology. Anytime you see something that's new, sign up for it immediately. The landscape is going to get tougher. The competition is going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher. But now is the perfect time. Now, here's the one that's going to piss people off. We kind of touched on it before. Or we've been touching on it throughout the past, how long have I been on? 40 minutes? And I'm cooking. I didn't even know I've been on 40. It don't even seem like 40 minutes. You know why now? Probably more so than any. You get to learn from everybody's poor mistakes, poor decisions. You get to learn the case studies, the amount of case studies that exist now since this box truck cargo van popularity was created from influencers 3 to 4 years ago. You have real life case studies on what not to do. There's no reason that people are still entering into this industry doing some of the ill-advised things that I see people doing. You got all the case studies in the world. I present to you as many of them as I can in the form of clips from the call-in show. These are educational conversations on what not to do. You know why people tell you shouldn't get in? It's because they failed. Or they failing. People that tell you now it'd be different if people told you in 2021, then I believe a person telling someone in 2021 that wasn't a good time, as long as they could articulate why, it would hold merit. I would tell them back then, yo, the market is going to correct itself. Everything is going to come down and that'll present you a great opportunity. You don't want to invest now because the market is going to correct itself and you're still going to be stuck with this high initial cost. That's how I would articulate it, and that's how I did articulate it then, although most people didn't listen. But people say it now because they're bitter. They either failed or they're failing. And misery loves company. People that aren't doing good hate on other people that are. People that aren't doing good hate on other people that have interest in getting into something that they're struggling at. This is why they tell you. And when you ask them why, they can't articulate it. You know what they tell you? Oh, the rates are trash. Says who? Because I keep doing these lectures and challenging these people, and none of them can articulate to me why they oppose what I'm saying. If I was up here talking bullshit, why do I have so many positive case studies? Why does my channel grow at an exponential rate during a downturn in the box truck? The box truck industry, as far as content creation, is nowhere near what it used to be. But my channel keeps going up and to the right. Why? Because people see the value, they take it out in the world, they implement it, and they see it works. And then they come back and then they tell you, yo, yeah. I'm not going to get up here and just say shit just to be saying it. Shout out to Goat Logistics for that super chat.
Sweet.
Appreciate that. It's people winning every single day. They followed a simple formula and they applied it. It is what it is. They say, oh, the rates. What about them? This is the industry. This is the landscape of the industry. It's a market. No matter how many times I say it's a market, people are always going to say, well, man, I can't, the rates are going to get back. The rates are trash. Well, what are back rates? What do these back rates look like? Because a market is a market. It's going to fluctuate. So if you get into an industry that, you know, the way you operate, the way you book work is based off a market, it's going to fluctuate. Any market fluctuates. You have green days, you have red days. You set your business up to win regardless. On a green day, you're supposed to win. On a red day, you're supposed to win. Are you diversified? Is the box truck business or the cargo van business the only thing, your only source of revenue? It's just like getting into the stock market. You buy one stock and then on a red day, you lose your money. Then you're crying and complaining. No, you diversify. You have money spread out in different sectors. If the EV sector is a red day, the tech sector may be green. So the losses that you took on the EV sector, you're making up for them and maybe with a little profit in the tech sector. Are you taking the money when the industry is doing good for you, ally the pandemic, and did you go out and invest it into other things that make you money? Or did you just take the money, go to Christian Dior, go to Louis Vuitton, had me waiting outside all damn day in a long line at Gucci because you took your money and you wanted to go get you some Gucci loafers. Had me waiting outside. But now you spent your money on Gucci and now you selling shit on Poshmark. You got to sell your shit on Poshmark because you blew the bag. You didn't take the money and put it into other things that would create other streams of revenue. Hit the like button. Am I lying to you? Was y'all standing them long lines at the Burberry store? I had to stand them long ass lines. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. You got real life case studies. How can a person tell you right now ain't the perfect time when the cost of entry is low as all outdoors? All right, so if the cost of entry is low, let's say this Black Swan event, this Black Swan event that everybody thinks is going to happen. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Let's say this Black Swan event does happen. Still the perfect time to invest to get in. Why? Because if the Black Swan event does happen and rates skyrocket back like they did during the pandemic, you got in a low cost of entry so that if they do go up, you win in 40 ways going north all the way around the board. Or are you going to wait till the event happens, the bubble happens, and then you join the bandwagon again, and then the shit come crashing down, and then you're going to be in the same boat that you... See, the point of business to buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. So if you're waiting for rates and the cost of entry is low, now presents the best time to enter. So even if your argument opposes me, that still doesn't make sense. Why would you want to enter when the cost of entry is going to rise with the rates? A market is a market. This is why we make money in crypto. This is why we make money in the stock market. This is why we make money in trucking. Anything that's a market, we understand the fundamentals. I'm going to give you another secret from good old Warren Buffett. When people are fearful, you should be greedy. And when people are greedy, you should be fearful. Everybody's fearful right now because they're failing. Now is the time for you to be greedy. When everybody was greedy, I took the opportunity and was fearful and got out and sold to a bunch of suckers. Just by following the simple fundamentals. When people are greedy, you should be fearful. And when people are fearful, you should be greedy. Everybody's fearful. Now presents the best time to be greedy. If I was getting in, I would go in, buy me a $20,000 truck. That means I can shop the load board and be more competitive to the competitors that entered 2 years prior, 3 years prior to me. and run profitably because my cost is not high. A lot of people don't like me for saying this. I've lost subscribers for saying this. At the end of the day, I don't care. You know why? Because I know what it takes to win. The object is to win. Listen, if I cared what people thought about me, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. It's about me. You got to put you and your business first, because I guarantee you one thing. People going to put they self first. They ain't going to think about you. I learned these lessons early by the grace of God. Way before I got into business, I learned that people are out for self. And I learned that people, when they say, "Oh, now ain't the good time," if they can't give you a reason why, then they don't know what they talking about, or they just hating and they bitter because they struggling and they failing. And that's what most people are doing. Most people are bitter because they can't figure it out. Most people say no because the truck that you're looking at the rider, buy one, get one 50% off, that was their truck. They truck that you want to go buy, and you ask them, man, I know you was in the box truck business. You got in the box truck business in 2021, and I'm thinking about getting in right now. Man, what you think? Nah, man, it ain't a good time. Why? Because you finna go buy their truck. You finna go get their truck, and then you finna get a little phone and a little man truck too, because you gonna buy his truck for 30, and then they gonna give you the other truck for 15. You gonna get two trucks for 45. You gonna go buy his truck, the truck that he bought for $85,000 during the pandemic because he got suckered like a goofy. You gonna buy it for 30, and then you gonna pull up and you gonna hit the horn on him, and then he gonna even be more mad. That's why they don't want you to get in. That's why they telling you it's not the right time. We got 130 something people in here. We got 97 likes. Let's get those likes up to about 75%. 132 people. We got 97 likes. Go look at all the content from that time period. Go look at all your favorite people from that time period. Your favorite content creators, no matter big or small. During that time period. Because a lot of them popped up on the scene during that time period. Right? Now, look at their journey. It was short-lived. But look at their sentiment in 2021. Make sure you look at the timestamps, the dates, September, especially around peak season. Ooh, go look at November. Go look at December. All the videos from November, December 2021, January of 2022. Go look at all that shit. Look at how they was, woo, $10 million gazillion a mile in the box truck business. Man, you got to go get you a box truck. Hit the link below. Hit the link below, man. Get my course. Subscribe to the channel. Get the course. Man, I'm offering $10,000 mentorship. We running the bag up. Man, I'm making $10 million a mile. Pimp, this, that, and the third. Then fast forward. Skip over about 4 or 5 months. Go to about June, July 2022. That sentiment was different. Oh, man, this shit trash. This is garbage. Out the box truck business. Failed box truck business. Box truck business is trash. I'm getting out. So selling my box truck. They came and repoed my box truck. I crashed my box truck. I lit my box truck on fire. Brokers ripping me off. This, that, and the third. It was the complete opposite. Just a year ago, you were selling everybody this dream on this was the greatest thing ever created by God himself. 11 months later, this is the worst thing ever created by God himself. How does something take a dramatic turn in 12 months' time? Whose fault was it? These are the same individuals that are telling you now it's not the perfect time. These are the same individuals that are telling you that now it's not the perfect time. If I would have thought that, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to offload a bunch of trucks to suckers like that. Buy low, sell high. That's business. This is the best time to get in. The best time. When the economy does turn, which it will, it's not going to be drastic like you guys think, like a lot of people think. I think a lot of people think that, like, there's so many people, no matter how much you tell them that 2022 was a fluke, they just still believe those days are coming back. When I say things getting somewhat more positive, I'm talking about maybe in comparison to maybe like 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, when we start to see people start to buy homes again. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. I'm talking about a normal economy that's on the up and up, an upswing in a normal economy, not a black swan economy. We got 140 people in here. We got 108 likes, not a black swan. The pandemic was a black swan event. So think about it like this. If now is not a good time, which I'm telling you it is, things get better. Let's say in 2026. Normal economy get better, not black swan get better. As we progress into whatever that may look like, let's say, all the industries that are associated with what you do, cargo van, box truck, are going to get better too. And what happens? More demand, prices are going to slightly go up. Not like what you saw during the pandemic, but prices are going to go up. You're going to have less to choose from. And then you're going to see on a smaller scale what you saw in 2021. The interest in the space increase as well, which is going to drive even more people. But now you're entering at a higher cost. If you can get in at a lower cost now, sustain, because you're entering at a lower cost, which enables you and provides you the opportunity to compete better versus the people who are struggling because they got in 2-3 years ago. And as the economy gets better and more opportunities present themselves and things go up, you already came in at a low initial cost. So you're reaping the benefits of the economy progressing in an upward trajectory. It's just like the comparison or the example that I gave at the beginning of the live stream when I said the people who won during the pandemic were the people who were already in the industry prior to the pandemic. The people who came into this industry during the pandemic didn't win. They thought they won. They win was temporarily, but that temporarily win was really a fluke because they didn't know what they was getting into, because if they did, they would have waited. They entered in the midst of a bubble and they got washed and wiped out. The people that won in the pandemic were the people that were in trucking that already were there. Why? Because they saw an increase in volume. They already had their equipment. They invested in, their initial cost was lower because they came in. And for those 2.5 years, it was like a bonus for them. So they were able to pay off their equipment. They were able to, I heard some people paid off their homes. These were people that were already established and working towards something already. Why? Because they were in already. Those were the winners during the pandemic. So if you enter now, it'll be similar to that, just on a smaller scale. Once the economy starts to progress in an upward trajectory, better, but from a normal perspective, not a black swan perspective, I'm going to repeat it because we don't want people to get misconstrued. That was a once in a lifetime thing. We hadn't seen anything like that since the 19 teens of the 1900s, 1920, whenever the influenza pandemic, I think it was 1917, 1920, something like that. you're going to already be in. So you'll just reap the benefits of having a low initial cost because you got in now. And as the economy gets better, you'll see a slight uptick and you'll reap the rewards because you were an early adopter. You got in early versus the people who are now joining the bandwagon. And that's how you should look at it. Learn from other people's mistakes. Don't take their mistakes and laugh at these people. Each mistake is a learning lesson. You learn from people's successes. You also learn from people's failures in business and in life. I remember one time I had a homie. I had to take him to the clinic. He was burning. The way I saw a grown man cry, listen, I said, I ain't never getting called out here without the Jimmy ever in life. I learned from his dumbass decision to not strap up. You dig what I'm saying? So you learn. And I know that was a graphic example, but I wanted you to really understand that you can learn both ways. You can learn in life and you can learn in business. You learn from people's successes and you learn from people's failures. If I see you doing something that's not in your best interest and I see the results of something that you did that wasn't in your best interest and the results that came from it, if you got common sense, then I'm not going to do that. I learned you paid the cost for everybody to learn. Same in business. And I'm just keeping it a buck. So if a person tells you now is not the right time, this is what you ask, and this is your counter for that. Don't say, well, when is? Say, well, why don't you think it's the right time? And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be able to articulate why. And if they do, they're going to give you some bullshit answer talking about the rates. And then you ask them, well, what's wrong with the rates? And they're going to say they're horrible. And I'm going to say, how do you determine that? And then they're not going to be able to give you an answer. And then this is what's really going to crush them. What's your cost per mile? And 9.8% of the time, they're not going to know the answer to that. So how can a person that doesn't know what it costs them to operate their own business dictate or tell you when is not the right time to do anything when it comes to business, especially the business that they're already actively running in when they don't even know what their cost is to run? Every time somebody say, yo, what's your, well, if not the right time, well, why not? What's your cost per mile? So how can you tell somebody when now is not the right time? When this is the better, in the last 4 years, this is the best time. Data shows it. When you have trucking companies that are telling you buy one, get one half off, a truck, buy one, get one half off, that should ring an alarm in your head that they're not selling vehicles. So if the vehicles are at a fraction of the cost and you mean to tell me I can get one low as hell and then get the second half off, does that not like give you some type of evidence of where we're at right now? So in business, I thought the point was to buy low, sell high, but in this instance, buy low so that you can maximize your earning potential. But we know most people gonna wait for the next big buzz, and then that's when they all gonna come running. And you're gonna see history repeat itself over again. So in a nutshell, that's why now is the right time. We got 150 people in here. 150 people. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. Hit the like button. We got this poll. Let's try to get 100 more votes in this poll. How's your cargo van or box truck business doing? We got 24% that said they winning big time. We got 49% that said they getting by. We got 20% that say they struggling. We got 7% that say they out of business. Make sure you participate in that poll. We got 90 votes. We'll close this poll out. And in about 10 more votes, when it gets to 100 votes, we'll close the poll out and we'll see the results. We up to 93 votes. We need 7 more votes, and then we'll close that poll out. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on all post notifications. Hit the like button. So in a nutshell, we got 150 people. Let's get those likes up. In a nutshell, that's where I'm at with it. Now, I challenge anybody. to tell me why it isn't. Because I just told you why it was. As a business person, whenever I see an opportunity that I can buy low, that lets me know that presents the opportunity. Anytime I can buy low, that presents the opportunity. One person's failure is another person's come up. Whenever there's blood in the streets, it presents opportunity. Whenever there's blood in the streets, opportunity presents itself. During the housing market crash, there was plenty of opportunity. It's just people didn't want to do the things that where the opportunity presented itself. When people are fearful, you should be greedy. When people are greedy, you should be fearful. People are fearful right now because of the decisions that they made, which is why it's the pristine time for you to be greedy. But be greedy the smart way. Invest because the initial cost of entry is low right now, and do everything in your power to keep your operational costs down and compete hard. We got 95 votes. We need 5 more votes, and we're going to close this poll out. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, turn on all post notifications. All right. And that's that's where I'm at with it. I challenge anybody to tell me why isn't it a good time? It's the best time. It's the most perfect time. In the last 4 years, now it's the best time to enter. We need 4 more votes so we can close this poll out. How's your cargo van or box truck business doing? 23% says they're winning. 51% says they're getting by. No, I'm sorry. 23% said they're winning big time. 51% said they're getting by, no complaints. We need 3 more votes. 21% says that they're struggling. And 6% says that they're damn near out of business. Those 6% that say that they're damn near out of business, you guys need to join the Discord and see what we can do to kind of help turn things around to at least get you up to a struggle, and then we can get you to getting by, and then we can hopefully get you to winning. We got 97 votes. We need 3 more votes so we can close out this poll, make it an even 100 votes so we can close out this poll. I'll take a question, then I'm out of here. I'll take a question pertaining to the topic, and then I'm out of here. 140 people in here. We got 119 likes. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. We got 100 votes. Let's close this poll out. We got a little over 100 votes now. Let's close this poll out. All right, so with 101 votes, how's your cargo van or box truck business doing? All right, 52% won with I'm getting by, no complaints. Congratulations to everybody that's getting by. No complaints. We got 21% says that they winning big time. Shout out to all those people. We got 19% said that they're struggling. All right, we need to figure out why you guys are struggling. Call-in show starts back tomorrow, Halloween. We probably do it tomorrow late evening, or at the beginning of prime time. All right, so call-in show. We need you to be here tomorrow night so you can get your questions answered. All right, so if you're struggling, that 19%, we'll see you back here tomorrow. That 5% that say they damn near out of business, we definitely need to see you tomorrow on the call-in show so we can give you that coaching and that advice to see what we could do to kind of turn that business around. So that poll is closed. We got 140 people in here right now. We got 120 likes. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. And that's my thoughts on this. Is the perfect time to come in, cargo van or box truck. This is absolutely 100% the best time that I've seen in the past 4 years. Anybody that opposes it, link is always pinned to the top of the chat for you to articulate yourself. But make sure that you can articulate and substantiate why not is the right time, because I will come ready to debate with facts. All right. Until next time, make sure you join the Discord, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.